Yeah, this is Bang Bang Ray Hill. Please press the like button and subscribe. Yeah, years ago, yeah. This is we'll call this what? Maybe five, four, three, two, one. It's. I met a guy called Junior Joseph, yeah, a black guy, really educated. He lives in Wolverhampton. Such a nice guy. The guy was like Danny and Langan. I'll tell you a little story. Yeah, I used to knock about a lot around the Beckett, Thomas the Beckett, the Old Kent Road, and all around places like that. Yeah, and I quite had a few fights in pubs down there. And anyway, this particular time, I'm in a pub, or I think it was a pub or a club. It's such a long time ago, you know. It's like hard to remember, but I can remember little bits and pieces of it. And it's a bit surprising, you know what I mean? And I was friends with a guy called Jamie Foreman. That's Foreman's son, yeah, Jamie. And you know, go back a long way, mate. We was mates, yeah. And he asked me if I could get something, and I said I can. And he gave me his address and bits and pieces like that. And I went there and I met him, and I drove there, yeah. I never even had a license, you know what I mean? I used to drive around all the time without a license, you know what I mean? It was like, in them days, it was easy. You know, they had all these machines and all that. It was a lot easier, yeah? Now they pass you and even know what underpants you got on, but anyway. Yeah, I went there and Jamie Foreman's there with a girl called Linda. And what's that? And another, what do you call it? Tracy Sullivan, Ray Sullivan's missus, a light-skinned girl, really beautiful girl, yeah. And this girl Linda was really attractive, and a black guy with glasses called Junior. Junior had the accent, Birmingham accent, Wolverhampton accent, nice geezer, mate. I mean, he was there with Linda, she was a friend, but Linda wound up being a very top QC. I'm not quite sure she'd become a judge, but I think Jamie Foreman give her a baby. I'm not quite. That's what I was told. He made her pregnant. She's got a little son or a little daughter. Me and not Jamie Bennett. Sorry, Jamie Foreman. It's funny, isn't it? Like you go back all in the years, and I see him on television, and it's Jamie Foreman, Freddie Foreman's son. You know, and me and him was quite close at one stage. And to think that now he's done what he's done really well. I think it's maybe because he had an equity ticket. I might have met him through Jimmy Tibbs, whatever. More likely have, you know what I mean? More likely have. That's more likely what happened. Because you know I met Jimmy Tibbet in the early 70s, late 70s, 78, 79. So it could have been then, yeah. But I think it's a long time going backwards, yeah. But thinking about it the other night. And yeah, I think myself, crikey, man. Jamie Foreman has done really well for himself. And I had something for him, and I'll give it him. And he's with, as I say, I think that time she was a solicitor or barrister. And she was really nice, you know. I really wanted to go out with myself, you know what I mean? But Ray Sullivan's wife was there, Tracy Sullivan, and she was really pretty, Tracy. Anyway, me and Junior, I'll give Junior something. He wanted something, so I'll give him a sample of something, a sample of the gold I had. So he went back to Wolverhampton. I stayed there for a bit of time. Junior gave me a lift I wasn't in Kingston, I was somewhere else then. Junior gave me a lift back, and everything was. Junior was coming down maybe once, twice a week, picking up bits of gold and stuff, yeah, and going back to Wolverhampton. And me and him got very close. And then I'd moved to Kingston, and he was coming over a lot, yeah. He was coming over a lot, and we become white pals. And then I got on the coke and all this, that, and the other. And me and him was on the coke and all that. And then I remember one time I was in my house and I was chucking coke across the table, and he said, "I've got to go home, mate." You know what I mean? Wolverhampton. I said, "Well, it's something like that you stay." He said, "No, I've got to go home." You know, I think he got a little bit paranoid. He wanted to get out, and he said, "You've got anything to keep me awake?" make me keep me awake. The child, not, he was taking coke anyway, that keep him awake, but we wanted something to more buzz him up more. So I said, okay, I've got something for you. And I'll give him some things called Dennis's the Menaces, E's, yeah, ecstasy pills. So he took 2 of these, yeah, and then he phoned me up about half hour later. He said, Ray, he said, I'm in a right bad way. I said, what's up, mate? He said, the motorway's going like up and down. I said, I can't drive the car, I've got to pull over. The motor's going up and down, yeah? He said, I've got to pull over. Anyway, pulled over and fell asleep in the car as such, dozed off. Even on that, he dozed off. I mean, I could never do that. And the police tapped him on his windscreen and he woke up and he didn't realise where he was, yeah? He said, sorry, obviously. He said, I feel a bit tired and it's a long way off to the next junction. So I thought I'd just pull over and have a sleep. He said, well, you can't sleep on the hard shoulder. You're liable to get killed. So move your car along and give him his licence and all registration and this, that and the other. And he just moved off, yeah, and drove back home to Wolverhampton. So this is crazy really, what me and Junior, I worked at Crispin's a long time ago, yeah, and Crispin's had a thing called an ice machine, yeah, that used to knock out ice, but lots of it, yeah, because Crispin's used to lose loads of ice in the cocktail bar. And when I was with Junior, this is the truth, it's crazy really, because I said to Junior, it would be a good thing to put ice in bags. He went, what? I said, ice in bags. He said, they invented ice in bags, Ray, in America. It's not an invention, Ray, but I said, they haven't got it in this country, ice in bags. I didn't know what they have, I've never seen it. He went, do you know what, Ray, you're right, but do you know what would be better than that? I said, what's that, mate? He went, like clubs like Samantha's, Browns, Blondes, Bootleggers, all them sort of things. Why can't we make something up like a leg, like Bootleggers, and for Samantha's put a woman, and this, that and the other, and do little ice things just like for the club, He said, that'd go down really well, you know what I mean, Ray? He said, imagine that. Like advertising, innit? Advertising, people like, he said, why don't we do that? People go into clubs and when they get their ice, they get the ice in a figure like Samantha or a boot for Bootleggers and Blondes, blonde hair was dyed yellow or something like that, you know what I mean? He said we could do that. That'd be worth a fortune, but that'd really kick off, yeah? I went, crikey, you know what I mean? Maybe it would, but what about the ice in the bags? And he said, well, and all of a sudden it kicked off, ice in the bags. But it made it even worse that next door to me on my next road was called Avenue Road. And this guy called Terry, what was his name? He owned Bagley's, yeah? And the Cross and a few other places over Vauxhall Bridge and this, that and the other. But his son, he got put ice in bags about 2 months after we was talking about it. It's crazy. And he's earned a fortune out of it, putting ice in bags. And everywhere you go now, supermarket, shop, any shop, on a corner shop, whatever, got ice in bags. What a fantastic thing. Water, so easy. And how much it costs? £1, £2 a bag? Mad. And me and my mate Junior was on it, yeah. But we should have stuck to the ice, Blondes, Pal Joey's, and all these sort of things do the look-alike, in ice. And it was crazy not to do it, We had to buy machines and all this, buy special pressers and all, anyway. And me and Junior should have done it, It's still there to be done today, the same thing. But my mate Junior was very, very clever, yeah. He used to think of things and inventions and all that, and he told me one, about, I don't know, 16 months, 17 months ago, maybe more than that ago, yeah? About putting masks in machines, in vending machines, in stations and all that. I went, nah, you shouldn't do that, you know what I mean? And what happens? They put masks in vending machines. It's crazy. And I've got one. I mean, I don't think it'll ever come. COVID will ever come around again, and things like that. But I got one similar to that, yeah. But we was talking about it, me and Junior, and he went, "Mate, you know what, mate? That's a fantastic idea. Fantastic. That's even a fantastic idea without the COVID. What you're thinking about, mate? We should get into that, you know." And I won't tell you what it is, and it's such a good idea, mate. It's something that would really kick off, you know, and it wouldn't take that much money to get it together, you know. And you think it's a blimey. Anyway, me and Junior become really good friends. Me and Jamie Foreman were already friends, but he got involved with that girl called Linda, and she really liked me, Linda, because I was a big guy, come out of prison, big guy, good-looking guy, then, believe it or not. Do you know what I mean? And she was on my case. She really, really liked me, yeah. And I think now, I'm not quite sure, I was told that, not Jamie Bennett, Jamie Foreman, I keep saying Jamie Bennett, Jamie Foreman made her pregnant, and I think she's got a son or a little daughter. So, I mean, I haven't really checked it out. I mean, you know, but that's what I was told. And it's, whether or not it's mine, I don't even know it's mine. You know what I mean? Because we was really close, yeah. Anyway, so my mate Junior used to come around my house, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week from Wolverhampton, pick up bits of gold and bits of silver and take it back to Wolverhampton and sell it. And he had lots of jewellers over at Birmingham markets and things around there that he used to sell it to, yeah. I used to get it quite cheap myself, so it didn't really, you know, it wasn't that bad for me, yeah. But he stuck by me really thick, you know, really thick. And when I got put away again, but this time it was only for a short time. I think it was 6 months or something like that. He was always sit round Kingston looking after my ex-girlfriend Danny, and you know, giving her bits of money. And when I come out, he owed my Danny X amount. I think it was 60 grand or 70 grand or something, over something, a deal that I've been doing with him over gold. And he tried to knock my Danny, yeah. And so then I had to get on the phone, and when I phoned him up, he went, "Who's that?" I said, "Oh, who's that?" I said, "Where are you?" He said, "Who is it?" I'm not saying. I said, "It's me, Ray." I said, "You got my number? You know the phone number?" He thought it was Danny, didn't you? Yeah, Danny don't talk like that, mate. He said, "Listen," I said, "Where's the money you owe my Danny?" Ray. I said, "Where's the money you owe my Danny? Get it sorted, Junior, please." You know what I mean? And he sorted it out, you know what I mean? He did sort it out. It took him a bit of time, but he sorted it out. I got a little bit more things with him and got it sorted. Me and him was just good mates, yeah, really good mates. And I moved. Me and Danny had a fight, and I moved out for a little bit of time, and I moved somewhere. Well, it's mad. It was out of the way. And if I never had him, I'd be in a terrible state. I never had a car. I had a car, but Danny wouldn't let me take the cars, and this, that, and the other. He'd all the keys. Being as a woman is, you can't fight a woman, just to let it go, yeah. So I got in a cab, and I've had a car run around. So Junior used to come and meet me, and me and Junior. I mean, this guy is just one of them guys that you take to. A nice guy, black guy, glasses, speaks really good Birmingham, Wolverhampton accent. He put me up in Wolverhampton over that way, and put me up in a flat. I was just out there keeping out the way of everything, and he looked after me, mate. And this particular time is so funny. I'd gone there. I got quite a bit of money, and got a bit of nose. It's not clever to say that. It's just crazy, but I did. And out there, you get these books, yeah, and they tell you about these girls and all this, that, and the other, and you can sort of phone them up from the book. You've got loads of numbers, and I was getting girls over all the time, and enjoying myself. A bit of coke, loved it, yeah. And this particular girl, I got on the phone to her, and she was really, really attractive. She was so pretty, it was unbelievable. And I just had to get this girl, yeah. So I phoned up the number, and she came on the phone. Hello, all that, and then Burn accent. I told me where I was, and she came over. I opened the door, and she said, it's going to cost you X amount of money. I said, okay. So come in. She said, no, I'm not going to come in. You pay me first, and then I'll come in. She said, I've had it so many times. I come in, I don't get paid for what I do. And I said, no, and I ain't having that. So pay me. I can put the money in the car, and I'll be back. Okay. What did they do? She got the money, and gone. She was gone. And it wasn't the fact that she'd gone like that. It was the fact that she was really, really nice. And I'll give her quite a bit of money for a lot of money over the top of it, yeah. And it upset me, you know what I mean? So I got to Junior and I said, listen, Junior is big time in Wolverhampton and around them areas, kids, all that, really heavy people, yeah. And really well respected, you know, but posh, you know, really posh. So he said, leave it to me. And he went to these people, to this agency, and he told them about it, and they said, okay, don't worry about that, we'll sort it. And this girl knocks on the door, and it was that girl. And she said, look, I'm really sorry. She said, but I didn't trust you how to go anyway. She said, you didn't look the sort of guy that I could come and have a bit of fun with. I said, well, I am here now, you know what I mean? So she come over, and she was there, and we had a bit of fun, and she came over a couple of times, and it was nice. I'm not into white girls. I like light-skinned girls and all that, and black girls. I'm not into white girls. I'm sick of white girls. I was married twice, and that was enough for me, mate. Anyway, and it's the same. Me and Junior become really good pals. And I'm only sorry that I never stuck with him because he's very business minded. He buys masks from Africa, these masks, and he's got untold hundreds of them, yeah? And some of them are worth thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. Masks, just these what do you call it, masks, these, bewitched masks and these like things, funny masks. And he showed me some, I phoned him up about, 4 months ago? And he showed me some and I thought, God, bloody, how much is that worth? He went about $4,000, mate. I said, how much pay for that then? He said, about 2. I said, what, $2,000? He said, no, £200. I went, wow. Do you know what I mean? And he's just one of them guys that just treads in poo and comes out smelling of roses, mate. You know, you get them guys. And I'm just gutted that me and him never got into the bags of ice. And I'm gutted we never got into what we was going to do with the little things like, you know, for the clubs. And that's a good idea, that is, you know. Whoever's listening on my podcast, that's quite a good idea, doing the ice like that for clubs and pubs and bars. That'd kick off, you know. That'd really kick off because, I think it's a fantastic idea, mate. So people love that, you know, to go to the ice and see that, you know, because they'd like to take one home with them, you know what I mean? You know that, innit? But it obviously it'd melt. But, you know, people would come here with ice things and put it in there, you know, and take it back to the... But it's good. It's a good invention. So, you know, anyway, me and Junior didn't see ourselves for quite some time. And me getting involved with the coke and all that, didn't do. I come back home and didn't do me no favours. I become an arsehole. But on top of the coke, I was taking steroids, really bad. I mean, I was jabbing myself up so much, it was crazy. I mean, before I was going to the gym, the Barbican and places like that, I was popping around a mate's house, my mate Bobby Ward, popping around his house and getting him to jab me up, you know. And before I went to the gym, I just getting really, really big. It was Gary Kendall that done it. He got me on the roids, you know what I mean? I was already big, but that made me even more big, more powerful, massive rapid deltoids, crazy mad. And being violent on top of that, and being on the roids makes it even worse. You're more violent, you know. And I've told these stories before, but it's something that I want to get more, you know. I want to just let people get into it more, yeah? It's a story, yeah? So I'm in the Barbican, and I goes down there. I've got this great big Cherokee, massive big Cherokee. It weighs about, 3 tons? It's massive. Got big doors at the back, big electric, big doors at the back, and big bumpers at the front that stick out either side. It'd be banned now, but I did this thing, yeah? And I was in the Barbican having a workout, and I've just, for about 2 hours, I was huge, right? I had a pair of shorts on, a little t-shirt, tight as anything on me, but you can't help it. It's just after training, yeah? I had a few jabs, coming back home, and I'm going round this roundabout, yeah? And this car by the side of me hit me, yeah? But what he's done, he's hit me, but he's hit my bumper. He's got hold of his wheel arch or nothing like that, and ripped the front right off you. So I pulled into the garage, and they pulled in behind me, these two, yeah. And the worst thing ever could have ever done is come in behind me and get really leery, yeah, because I'm on the roids. I'm very violent as it happens, and I can have a right fight. So they done the worst thing ever. I mean, when I got out of that car, out of that Jeep, they must have thought, what have we done here? A monster. And I walked straight around, bang, I hit one of them, mate. Sorry about it, talking about that sort of thing. I don't really want to talk about it, but it happened, yeah. I hit one, and I split my knuckle wide open. I used to hit really, really hard. I split my knuckle wide open, yeah. And the other one, I done the same thing. Smashed him to pieces, mate. Just hit him so hard and smashed his head against my car, my Jeep, and just left him in a heap in the garage. I don't think there was no camera, I'm not quite sure, but I just drove home, yeah. I know I didn't drive home. I drove to Danny. Danny used to work for, what was the name of the company she worked for? Odin's. Odin's, a big restaurant, yeah, Odin's. And it was owned by Michael Caine, and I forget his other name. Anyway, and I went and I drove there, and I walked in there, and she said, "Oh my God, what's up, you, Ray? Blood was everywhere, like from the cut." And she went, "You better go to the hospital and get that looked at and get some stitches in that, you know what I mean? Because you need stitches, Ray. Look at the state of it." And it was ripped, my knuckle was hanging out, really. But I was too frightened. I was too frightened to go to the hospital around that area because of what happened, yeah? So I drove all the way home to where was it? I think it was UK Road, Amherst Hospital, and they stitched me up. And I thought, oh my God, you know what I mean? I was my hand came right up, you know, really, really high. And I went home, and that Jeep, it's caused me more problems than anything. That Jeep, I must have hit 900 cars with that Jeep. If I drove down the road and there was like cars either side, I must have bashed into so many cars. It's crazy because this thing was really wide, yeah. Anyway, and then obviously, so me and my Danny, me and Danny were really close then. I mean, I just really met her. I was in love with her so much, yeah. And one day, I went down to where she was at Odin's. I said, "Listen, I want to buy you something, come have a look." And round the corner from Odin's, there was a jewellery shop. I had a bit of money. I had a lot of money, not a bit, a lot. And I said, "Come, have a look." And I went to this shop, and they had these diamond rings, yeah, but in a heart shape. Seriously. And I said, "Which one do you want?" And she picked out, not the biggest, but a lot of colour in it, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful ring. A diamond ring, heart-shaped. And that was our engagement ring, me and Dan. And we was already living together, but I bought that, yeah. And I loved her so much, mate. It broke my heart, yeah, when she left me. But when I give her that ring, it was a complete change. Everything changed in my life, yeah. It just like we become so close, really close. And when I used to walk in Odin's, not like I'm a burglar or anything like that, but when you walk in Odin's, you go, "Oh my God, they've got paintings. There's paintings in there and bronzes in there that must have been worth absolute fortunes. It was just one of them places, I suppose, that all top judges, MPs go to this restaurants. And there'll be a lot of people listening to my video that have been to a place called Odin's, yeah? And I was standing outside talking to my Danny, and who walked by? Barbara Windsor. She lived just round the corner. She's so tiny, and she was little shuffle her little feet, yeah? I went, all right, Barbara? She said, hello. Little Barbara Windsor, it was so sweet, yeah? And I thought, my Danny says she's always in here, right? She's always in here, comes in here, yeah? And it was so nice to see her, yeah? And what was the other place? Oh yeah, Langan's. Does everybody remember Langan's? Langan's was a big restaurant. My Danny, I was saying Michael Caine owned it. I forget the second name, Pete something. I mean, my Danny used to work in there, Langan's sometimes, because her brother John was the top chef at Langan's, yeah. And I'll never forget. My Danny said to me, "Come on, go to Langan's." And I said, "What's Langan's?" He said, "It's a big restaurant everyone goes to." I said, "What do you mean everyone?" And it was packed with actors, film stars, and all that. And me and Danny walked in there. I never forget, I'm massive, yeah. I must have been 21, 22 stone, but big, powerful, big guy, yeah. And I got a suit on, and it makes you even look even bigger. You know what I mean? And I'm with her, and my Danny was really, really, really beautiful, yeah. She was 6 foot, maybe more, and Hill's 6'2", but stunning. And walked in there with her, mate. And people were looking at me as if I was her bodyguard, and she was someone really famous. And it was nice to sit down there, and everybody's looking, do you know what I mean? All these actors, film stars, looking at me and my Danny, and I thought quite nice and good about it, yeah. And then John, top chef, he come up, come on, you can imagine, can't you? He come up from where he is, Langan's, doing the chef work. People know who he is, because other people talk to him and sat there about the food, and he comes straight over to me and my Danny, kisses Danny on the cheek, shakes my hands, and people now thinking that me and her are really, really famous, yeah, top people. And all of a sudden, top waiter comes over, took our order, and a big bottle of champagne come over, yeah. A big bottle of Dom Perignon, yeah, come over. From, I don't know, from someone in there who just put it over, and we're looking, and everybody's looking at me, yeah. And yeah, it was a good night, and you know, me and Danny, and my Danny knew how to live. She was a proper girl, but a lot of things happened between me and her that I was no good, mate. I was a bad man to her, you know what I mean? She was a good woman, mate. She was a good woman. And of course I'm gutted that what happened. My father, 2 kids. She got my little Ruby Ray that I've not seen. My Ruby Ray, she's a baby, 4 and away. My sonny, my big boy, one of my big boys, my biggest boy's Jay. My big boy's Jay is a beautiful kid, mate. And my boy survived. Let me tell you a little story about what happened there, yeah, because I've told it before, but I want to tell it again, yeah. My boy Jay, 16, I think he was 16. My boy Jay was like his dad, or wanted to be like his dad. He was more rough and ready, yeah. Lived in a council estate, a big council estate, and he was a bit of a bad boy because of his dad. Wanted to be like his dad. His dad's in prison. And when I've come out of prison, I was massive training all the time. He was very proud of what his dad. I used to pick him up sometimes in the car, but a lot of time I used to let him down, which is really hurtful for a kid that looks up to his dad. And I'd get in the car and I'd be massive in the car, yeah? And he'd be going, "Dad, look at the size of your shoulders," and all this. He loved it, yeah? Proud of his dad. But he was a bad boy. I mean, he used to go to the club and knock out men. He used to knock out bouncers, my boy, and he was a good fighter, my boy. He done Aikendo, and he good boxer, mate. He had, you know, a good fighter, my kid. And one day he had a bit of a problem with his mum. His mum went up to Scotland. She was living up there. And she got away from this guy called Bobby Elston, an arsehole who used to bash her up and bash all the kids up. And I wanted to kill him, but I was in another relationship. You don't want to get too involved. Anyway, she went up there to Scotland. My boy, she phoned my boy up and said, look, help me out, please. And my boy being a bit of a fighter. This Bobby Elston's a bully with my son as well, but my son had had enough of it. He went up with 3 of his mates to sort this guy out. If he, so she wanted to go out and wait for him with his mum. If this guy came up, and the 3 of them were going to set about him, bash him right up, yeah. So my boy leaves London, leaves Norfolk where he was living, and goes up to Scotland. But the guy that he's with is nicks a car or something like that. I don't know, or no insurance or something silly, yeah. And he's driving like a lunatic over in Scotland, driving around his corners like a lunatic. Cars come towards him, he swerved out of the way, hit a curb. My son's sitting in the front seat. 2 of his mates are in the back seat. My son's not got a seatbelt on. The driver, the car comes close to the thing, it swerves off, hits this big stone wall, yeah? Big round stones, hits this wall. He loses his arm, the driver, half his face. My son, as he hit the thing, there's a corner like that, it was a corner of the wall, corner of it. The car, as it hit it, my son went from the front seat straight through the back of the car, through the screen at the back, hit his head on the wall, and it cut about, 2 inches, and hurt his arm, but it knocked him spark out, yeah. Other 2 in the back really didn't have no injuries at all. It's unbelievable, yeah. But my boy, he couldn't. They called an ambulance to come over. An ambulance coming. Then they got a helicopter over to take my boy to the hospital. He died. My boy died about 5 times, and they kept reviving him. Yeah. He just died. He breaks my heart. He just died. Yeah. And then he went to, I think it was Dundee Infirmary, this big hospital, and Mum, she told me, Christy, I went fucking mad. Sorry swearing, I went really mad, man. I went crazy. You know what I mean? How dare my boy go all that anyway. I went into the hospital and he's sitting in bed, he's got all his machines on him, and they got a machine that they pull from his pull up to clean his throat or whatever it is, and as they're pulling it up, he sits up. And you think he's awake, but he's not awake. They got him alive on his machines. And they called me, and he's only got a little cut on his head. It's unbelievable. And they called me and Christine into this to see the consultant. And this consultant said, "Listen, I've got some bad news to tell you that your son, we're going to put a bolt in his head, yeah, to test the pressure of the blood." Right, and if the pressure of the blood doesn't read right, yeah, if it's pressure of blood that doesn't read right, we're going to have to turn the machine off, but we're going to ask you first if we can do that, you know, because you don't want the boy to grow up to be just nothing, like a cabbage, yeah. So I thought about it, and I'm going, yeah, I think you've got to do that, you know. My fucking hell. Christine, she nearly killed me. She nearly killed me. If she'd have had a knife, I'd have been stabbed to death. She hit me so many times, it was crazy. She must have hit me 1,000 times with everything that was on the table. And she said, and I had to go, I had to leave, yeah. She went crazy. And the next day, my boy survived. They put this bolt in his head, but my boy survived. So I would have killed my son. But she was so strong, and he survived. And today, my boy's just had a little baby with his girlfriend Nat, and I'm very proud of my son. You know what I mean? My son's pulled through all this. Yeah, he's powerful, man. She looked after my boy for 10 years in a wheelchair. She changed his nappies and all this that because he couldn't hold himself. My boy's gone through a lot, love his heart. You know what I mean? He's fell out of the bath and burnt all his shoulder on the rad, ripped half his shoulder off. He turned the hot water off on the bath. He had his machine that lifts itself up. He turned the water on, which he shouldn't have done. His mum does all that. He turned the hot water on and he couldn't turn it off. And he scolded all his body. My boy's gone through so much, yeah. But now he's like unbelievable. Oh, okay, he got a lot of money compensation, but that doesn't bring my boy back to the way he was. But it's changed his life. He bought houses, he's got this, he's got that. He's really clever, yeah. So he's used that money and perhaps it's done him a favour, you know, to a certain extent. He's got a good life in front of him now, yeah. But it broke my heart. And the guy that drove the car was like a lunatic. I went to kill him. Yeah. And the police got to hear about it because I said to the nurse, where is this person swearing? She got in touch with the police. The police then escorted me to the station and got on the one got on the train with me, took me back to London. And it was like one of the things, but I would have killed him, yeah. I would have killed him stone dead. But thank God I didn't. But my boy, his mother looked after him. As I say, he was in a wheelchair for 10 years, and she looked after him like a child. He went back to, as a child, messed himself and had to be fed, lost a lot of weight. She pushed him around. I felt so sorry for him, you know what I mean? But as a dad, I'm no good, mate. I left him, you know what I mean? I was with someone else and I just let it go. Who does that? You know what I mean? And, you know, you break your heart. I broke my heart on my sister. Don't want to do it again, you know what I mean? But, yeah, you know, and it done me in, yeah. It just completely ruined my life, mate. It just shattered me, yeah. I wasn't the same person, even though I was with my Danny. I don't think I was with my Danny at that time, yeah. But anyway, a lot happened. I went in prison and this and all this, that and the other. Anyway, this is Bang Bang Radio. Please press the like button and subscribe. It's a little story, but you're going to later on another one, yeah? All right, have a nice day, yeah. Bye-bye.